What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Tuesday Track Talk, episode number 20 with your Three Stones pit crew. I'm Cam, I'm your tire changer.
Kellen, I'm your jack man.
I'm also Cameron. I am the gas man.
And just like any other week, we got a hell of a week coming in. We got some amazing race recaps coming up. We have some preseason NASCAR along with Lucas Oil at Alltech Speedway. Got our featured topic of the week with our 2024 NASCAR Cup schedules that we each made up. And we'll have a few race previews here at the end as well, as racing season's really starting to ramp up. We got a lot of racing going on this weekend as well. So, otherwise, what's going on, fellas?
Not a whole lot. Didn't feel well at all over the weekend. Was under the weather, so didn't do much. But thankfully, feels like we're getting back in the swing of things with racing. So that's what kept me going this weekend. So,
There you go.
no, looking forward to this episode. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, just having NASCAR back feels right again.
Yeah,
A little
even
it's just different, but just to get back and you can know every Sunday you're gonna have a race.
yep, yep. So no, it was a good weekend. Preseason NASCAR coming in. It's hey, any little bit of it we can get is huge, especially this time. It's the jitters are starting to wear off now. So should we hop into it then and kind of talk about the Busch Clash and tell you what, it started off eventful right away with moving everything up a day, which I think is, no, it's from what Bob Pockrass says, is pretty unprecedented as far as moving it up a day. So, but I think in the end of it, it was a good call by NASCAR to be able to do it. And it seemed like it was pretty well received by everybody in the garage area too.
That's one of those tricky ones because you know it's coming. Do you try to hold out or you just say, all right, we gotta make a call? And fortunately enough, the weather did hold off on Saturday night that we did get that race in, especially for an event that's a non-point event.
Yeah.
It's tricky because you want to get it in, you want to do it, but at the end of the day, it's not like, oh, cancel and we're gonna lose a points race. So good decision. They got it in, they did it in a timely fashion, still gave a good show. So again, kind of one of those scenarios you just make a decision and go with it.
Yep. And I think, again, kudos to NASCAR for just making the call and getting the event in, the most important part. And I think you kind of saw not a wide range, but you had some guys that were, said, hey, that was the right call. And they were happy that we just got the event in. You also had some other people like Colleague who made it quite clear that they were not happy with the decision. And at the end of the day, I listened to like Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell, Martin Truex Jr. Like they talk like it was the right call. Because the forecast looks like 4 straight days of rain, and like those guys said, those other guys, some of these people that are complaining about they didn't get qualifying, heats and whatever. But like Chase Elliott said, he's like, this is a track that you have to qualify well.
Yep.
It's not like if you don't qualify well, you're going to get in the heat and you're going to drive from the back to the front. It's just not a super, it's not a track that you can start in the back and move. So,
Yep.
I like what they did. They got it in, and I thought qualifying was wildly entertaining. The format, and yeah, I thought just kudos to NASCAR all around for just getting it in and making that call. So
Yeah, and ultimately, it's a tough situation to be in. You're losing out on probably as many fans as you'd probably gotten on Sunday. They canceled a lot of the entertainment that was around there as well just to get the race in. And then NASCAR even came out and said they know that this was a losing deal for them as far as a money deal goes. But in the end of it, they just wanted to get the race in. And you hinted at it too as far as like the practice sessions and how qualifying went. Sure, you could say it's not how it was meant to be, but like you said, Elliot, it's you got to qualify good, and everybody had the same opportunity as far as qualifying went than what everybody else had.
Well,
yep.
and that
And go ahead, Cal.
I was just gonna say everyone had one practice session, everyone had qualifying, and then it was from there. everyone had the same on track time. And, unfortunately for some of the rookies, first time in a cup car, first time at the Coliseum. It's the nature of it. You got to
Yep.
learn and adapt on the fly. And for some of the guys that maybe this is a one-off for them, sorry, they were only going to take 23, 23 cars anyway. So you were going to have to unload from the trailer fast.
Yep.
End
You
of
had to be good. Yep.
end of
And that's the nature of, not necessarily NASCAR racing, but that's just the nature of any other racing that you go to your local short track at a Friday or Saturday night, Lucas Oil, World Outlaws. You gotta win your heats to get in. Or
Yeah.
you have to be good in your heats. Sure, again, it came down to qualifying session, but that's coming off of the trailer good too in that scenario. And especially
Absolutely. Yeah.
with limited practice at these races too. I mean, I'd say it was damn near pretty much a regular weekend.
Yeah, and the other part to that is, you know, I think it's as fair as it could be given the circumstances. And I mean, for the love of the Lord, my pick was second quick in qualifying or in practice. And he went from second quick in practice to not even making the race in
Yep.
Christopher Bell. So I mean that just goes to show. And Kel, you kind of alluded to, rookies, getting thrown on the track. I mean, granted, they're gonna have a little bit more practice time, but hey, welcome to NASCAR. You're gonna be doing that for the next 36 weeks, showing up to a track that you haven't turned a ton of laps in a cup car. And
Yep.
you're gonna get a practice session here and there, and then you're gonna get qualifying and then it's go time. So
Yeah.
I liked it. And then also, like, I will say, like, it's probably not sustainable for the sport, but wow, does that raise the stakes when
Oh,
38 cars show up and only, 24 make the show or 23? Could you imagine if like NASCAR did go to some format? Hey, we're gonna go to tracks, and from now on, the field's gonna be capped at 28.
oh God. Oh God.
Like, wow, you talk about raising the stakes. But
Yeah.
no, given the circumstance, I thought it was awesome.
I thought, and I think it was very well handled. Again, yeah, like you were saying, with the circumstances that were given to him, I think he got about the best product that you were going to get out of that whole ordeal. And like you said too, there were some guys that ended up missing out on it. Christopher Bell, I think, was the big one that missed out on that race. Chris Buescher, who still has yet to run the Clash with RFK at the helm. Josh Berry, Suarez, Jones, like you said, Colleague, Hocevar, Zane Smith, Cindric. I mean, there's just the list goes on as far as the guys that didn't make that show.
But the
Yeah.
list of guys that did make the show, they made it interesting for the rest of us.
Yeah, they got that right. And I was a little thank God Blaney had that points provisional for being
Well,
the champ last year, because God
Hard chart.
damn it.
That's a dirt word right there. A dirt award. That's a hard charger right there.
You want to talk about a hard charger,
well,
23-3.
you talk about a provisional, like, okay, in theory, yes, Blaney is going to run the race no matter what.
Yep.
But when you talk about provisional, usually you're thinking somebody top 10 in points,
Yeah. Yep.
quick but not there. Oh no, sorry, our provisional is a season champ. He didn't get himself in. Anyone else, it's like, oh my. Usually
Like
it's
I
like
was sitting there, I'm like, I watching qualify, I'm like, there's no way Blaney doesn't get himself into the top 22. I'm like, there's no way. Like he'll get himself like 20th. I'm sitting there, I'm like, the laps kept going. I'm like, he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
And I think he made a bad decision on what tires he went out there in qualifying. I think he went
Yeah,
out with scuffs.
he had scuffs. Yep.
But it was awesome when the announcers were saying it, like, hey, the defending champ, and they got him on the screen. They're like, he's got a minute to go. He's got about 4 laps that he can get in a
Yep.
minute. And then he clicks it off. No, not good enough. He's got 3 more to do it. No, not good enough.
His third lap or his second or third lap jumped him up to like 25th or something like that. But I'm like, God damn it. He's gonna miss out on this. He's gonna take the goddamn provisional.
Yep.
Yep. So no, it
Tough
was
way, to,
good.
tough way to spend the provisional, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, it came out good for him. Like we were saying, he definitely got the hard charger of the night going from 23-3, which I think for a race like that, that's pretty damn impressive to do between the track that you're racing on, just the carnage that kind of entailed too.
Yeah.
And stay on the lead lap.
Yep.
So
Staying on the lead lap is the biggest thing.
yeah.
Because you got to move and you got to go now.
Yep. Yeah, them guys are there type of thing. So no, Joe Gibbs had a really damn good. I thought he was going to win that there for a hot minute. He had a damn good car, a rocket for that race.
You know, him and the JL22, they decided to
Ooh.
shake hands and say we're gonna have a beer after the race.
Yep. Yep. I loved a few of the comments that came out for that. One of them went back to like the old 2005 Chase for the Cup, like the drivers arguing in the garage area cutscene. I just thought somebody put that graphic on there with Gibbs and Logano. I just thought that was hilarious. Another guy said too, like, oh, if you're on the tailgate for the truck, put the goddamn thing up so everybody can see what's going on.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was obviously, whatever. Joey's had his side of the story, Gibbs had his side of the story, but I mean, there was no shortage of storylines already between those two bickering. You had old Spinhouse, who I don't know how that is legal, what he did under brake, takes his helmet off, puts his window net down, gets out of his car, goes over to somebody else's car and takes their window net down. Like,
Yep. Oh,
so,
if I'm a crew guy, I'm hot.
yeah.
I am hot.
And John Hunter's crew guy was literally standing right there. I'm like, go to bat for your guy.
Yeah.
Hell no, I'm not letting you take his window net down.
Yep.
So, old
But that goes
Spinhouse,
back to another argument too of it's got to be driver on driver. You can't get crew guys involved because then you have a big issue on your hand too. So I mean, it's just yeah, it wasn't a super great look by any means.
No,
I mean,
yeah, that's one. And then you got Mr. Ross Chastain finds himself in a little controversy again. Oh, imagine that.
Yeah.
Yee.
He
post race too.
Yeah.
yeah,
They crossed the checkered before he decided to run him in the wall.
couldn't I mean if you're gonna send them, gets the message across.
Well,
Jesus.
Not
and
under
then,
green. We're just gonna wait till it's over. Then we're gonna make it.
Yeah.
and at least so then Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace.
Yeah. And then Bubba
Kyle
just
said he
pulled
was
right off.
Kyle said he was just sick of the way Bubba was driving him and kept bumping him, running him deep, this, that, and the other thing. And then finally, last lap, last corner, Larson said,
Yeah, I've had
So,
enough.
yeah.
damn right I was gonna give it back to him. He's like, I didn't mean to actually spin him. I meant to send him up the track. I didn't want to do it quite that hard, but
Kind of goes back to Blaney's comment last year. Fucking right, I meant to hit him.
Yeah.
yeah. And then not only that, but we were just talking about Spinhouse and John Hunter, but Spinhouse had himself another tangle. He had him and McDowell were
Oh
going
yeah.
at it.
Yeah. Them two were going at it on the track too.
So
Jesus.
yeah, I mean, by no means was there a lack of storylines coming out of this race.
Just carries over. That's the best part.
It's the Clash, boys. We got another 36 weeks, 37 if you count the All-Star.
Yep.
Another 37 to go here.
And that'll be my question here is, that was, so to speak, an exhibition race. Does this week and a half break, do you guys cool off and does
No.
Joey say, hey, Gibbs, I'll give him, whatever. And
Guys cool off, but it's the classic a driver never forgets.
Bingo.
Plain and simple.
Yep.
So Hamlin gets the win. I don't think that's a surprise by any means. He had a damn good car as well. He was going to be a threat to win. Otherwise, there was a lot of discussion too coming out of this race as far as do we need to move it? Was this a good race? Was it dampered by the conditions that they were given before the race or anything like that? What's your guys' thought? Good, bad, indifferent?
Here's
Like
what
it
I'm
where
gonna
it's
say.
at?
Here's what I'm gonna say. If they move the Clash, it needs to be at a track less than a half mile.
Okay.
Run it at a half mile, run it at a quarter mile, maybe go to a track that's not on the NASCAR schedule. But I think it needs to be tight quarters just like that. Take it what you do with it. Stays in the United States, quarter mile track. Those are my two criteria. That's it.
Yeah,
Simple.
on a scale 1 to 10, I'd give it probably, I'd say a 7.1. I thought it was a good race. And given the circumstances, again, a lot of storylines, so plus for that, but it just is such a bottom feeder track,
Yeah. Yep.
and a lot of times you're just the victim of somebody else's nonsense. You
You're
can be
you're
two cars ahead,
exactly.
and you're getting ran up the track because you're getting pinballed from somebody back there. So
Yep. So
um I was good with it. And I'll save my thoughts for my schedule and where the clash is going to go. So
Whoa.
yeah, I'll I'll
Okay.
I'll save my opinion for that as well. I'll bring in Jeff Gluck on this one. He did his traditional "was this a good race" poll. 51% said it was a good race, which ranks number three out of the last 7 clash races. With
Okay.
it ranks number 2 as far as the Coliseum races. 2022, the first year of it, got an 84. Last year was a 50. So the 3 Daytona races, there's 3 the oval ones and then the 1 road course race as well.
All right.
So that got taken into
Yeah.
account. I say it definitely should not go back to Daytona.
yeah, whoever's
I
saying Daytona road course can
um my
kick,
other
kick a
my other
stone.
thought was this, and this was a comment I saw on Twitter. Why can't we get bumpers that are crunchable, for lack of a better term? Maybe that'll help with the bumper cars situation. Whereas if those bumpers are crunching when they're getting hit,
Yep.
could
Something a
change the
little
race.
less rigid.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So it could be something that could get tried out just to see what happens. So
Yep.
no, overall, I think it's it's good that they got the race in. I think everybody's got their differing opinions on it. And I'm sure that's something that NASCAR will take a look at over the year and seeing if they want to change it somewhere. Um, but no, otherwise, any other final thoughts before we kind of move on to Lucas Oil here?
No, solid.
No, again, for the circumstances, and I guess the most important part for me was, hey, let's just get the show in, let these guys get on the track and run all the laps that are meant to be run. Again, kudos to NASCAR, did what they could. Racing was the best it could be given the circumstances, and
Yeah,
hey,
did
move on.
did the best with the situation they were given. So
Yep.
otherwise, we'll move on to Lucas Oil here at Alltech. They're in the middle of a hell of a stretch of races here. So night 1, RTJ. I'm trying to read our acronyms here and I can't get half of them. So,
You want me to step
no,
in?
what's that?
You want me to step in?
Yes, step in if you could.
Um, yeah,
He
so
abbreviated this also. We'll let him do it.
huh?
He abbreviated it all. Go ahead.
Yeah,
So yeah, Lucas Oil was at Alltech. Night 1, uh, RTJ gets the win. Devin Moran finishes second. Hudson O'Neal third. Tyler Bruning fourth. Jimmy Owens fifth, and um, guy we were all pulling for, Hunt the Front, Jonathan Joyner, finishes sixth.
Joseph
So
Joyner.
Joseph, sorry. Um, so yeah, I think moral of the story there, first night was the qualifying and the heats. Everybody was just complaining about the track. It was so one lane and rubbered up on the bottom. There was no top. And storyline was me and Kellen were kind of watching it together. I mean, they took a half hour, 45-minute track prep, and they just reworked the heck out of it.
A lot of people were grumbling.
Yeah. And so they reworked the heck out of it. And lo and behold, I didn't
We
think they
got
would
us.
do it, but they did it.
Yep.
And we got
We got
ourselves a
the-
wicked show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the other storylines out of there was Some of the bigger names that you might pay attention to or hear more often in the dirt scene, Jonathan Davenport and Bishop just struggled from the get-go. I think, Jonathan Davenport said, it was just a circumstance situation. He went out super early in qualifying, and it started taking off after he went. So he got behind, actually had to use a provisional to get into the feature, which you don't see often. And he didn't move. I think he maybe went 20 to 15th or somewhere in there in that 10 to 15 range. So not a great night for him. And then Bishop, he also struggled and had to get in through a B main. So track definitely threw everybody for a loop. And then the race itself, you had some guys that you probably wouldn't have expected to be up there going for the lead. Callan's old neighbor,
Gary
Alverson in the 58, throws her up on the top side. And as we always say, when you get up on the cushion, you're playing with fire, and the old concrete grabbed him and got him. So he was up there as well. Again, and then you talk about another regional guy, we hunt the fronts, Joseph Joyner. He was going at it with Ricky Thornton Jr., maybe showed his hands a little bit too early and maybe showed Ricky the way to get around there. Those were two guys that were up there competing for a win that you don't often see at a Lucas Oil race. But overall, it was, given the circumstances, what happened with the track early on.
Yeah, the rework was money.
Yeah,
Created an absolute dandy of a show.
yeah.
He's trying to take out the tractor tires. You got guys ripping. Literally, Max Blair ripped the rear end out of his race car running the top. You got guys just banging the boards, but then guys running the bottom, just trying to find anything. So rework was awesome.
Yeah, and me and you were sitting there, we're like, we're going on like 30 minutes here on the rework, but given the product they put on, was well worth it. So that was night one. RTJ got the win there. But then we went right into night two, and the former Longhorn house car, Tim McCready, gets the win. So good to see him get his first win since June, I think, of 2023. So it's been a long time since he's been in victory lane. So he got the win. Dalton Wilson in the 18. Solid run for him. Ryan Gustin in the 19. Tyler Bruning again in the top 5. Clay Harris in the 6. And Kellen's new fan favorite, the AW12. What's his name?
Air Force.
Ashton Winger. Rounds out the top 5. So, and then night 2 was a completely different track again. Right from the get-go, it was muddy, multiple lanes, guys running again, three grooves, bottom on the tractor tire, a little bit in the middle, and then it more so turned into the top. At least the quick guys were living and dying up there. McCready, Wilson, Gustin were just throwing it up on the top. So that was night 2. Again, JD struggled again. I think he got it together in qualifying and in his heat race. Started 4th, I believe, and drove it straight backwards. And I believe he finished 10th. So I changed up the attire. I didn't go with any 49 gear. I'm just going to support the ranch this week. So I have to change up the scene.
Get some good Olmens going.
Yeah, we're going to get back on track this week at East Bay. So he struggled. And then again, Bishop, I didn't catch the reason why, but he went to a backup car for the feature.
I did not catch that either, but I do know that, he went to backup.
And I didn't even put it on here, but your former champion, Hudson O'Neill, the report was he just broke his engine, so he was in a backup car as well. And then RTJ said it himself on his Twitter. I don't know if you follow him.
Yep.
But Old Greed bit him. He was running in the top 3 and he was just getting greedy, trying to get too much of it. And the old concrete, when you get greedy, the concrete will get you. Reached out and grabbed the hold of him, and said, "Yeah, we're not going to let you get a win tonight." So he ended up pulling off, finishing like 20th. But somebody that they've been making not a big scene of it, but Dalton Wilson, who's had his name in the mix here and there, but they always interview him and ask him when he's going to get his first Lucas Oil win. And he said he's been getting sick of getting that interview question, but he has a solid night. Finished second in that race, and he was running McCready down, and then he's a little bit pissed in his post-race interview when he said, "I don't know why that lap car was racing me the way they were." We talk about it all the time. A lap car, for some reason, didn't want to just let him go by and try to run McCready down. So he got raced like heck, and didn't end up getting to Tim McCready. So yeah, it was overall a good show. And I think, one of the bigger storylines there over the last week, I guess you could say, was, these touring series guys, yeah, they got the best of the best, but you come up to, with any racing discipline, you come to a regional or a local track for some of these guys, and these touring guys, you're going to be racing some people you've never heard of. These regional guys showed that they could compete. I think the Clay Harris, that was
I
at
was
Golden
just
Isles.
gonna mention. Yep.
That was at Golden Isles that he was, running, led a lot of laps, didn't end up getting the win, but he showed
Oh
he
no,
could.
hold on.
Go
No, it was
ahead.
Ocala.
Oh, was it Ocala? Yeah,
Ocala.
it
Yep.
was. But he led a lot of laps there that one night, and again had another solid run in night 2. And then you talk about Joyner had a good run in night 1, didn't have a good night 2, but I think kind of speaks to any discipline. If these touring guys got the best of the best, but sometimes when you show up to somebody's backyard, doesn't matter what you got, because some of these guys know these tracks like the back of their hand. So
Yep.
I don't know if I missed anything. I talked quite a bit there, but overall it was two real solid nights of racing for Lucas Oil.
Yeah, kind of going on that camp. So here's where your points are at. Ricky, Hudson O'Neill, Moran, Davenport, Brandon Shepard, Tim McCready, Dalton Wilson, Kyle Bronson, Clay Harris 9th, Tyler Erb 10th. That's your top 10 in points. So obviously some of those guys aren't going to run the series, but that's just where the Lucas Oil points stand as of February 3rd.
So I think the top 4 were the final 4 last year.
Yep, Ricky, Huddy, Moran, and Davenport.
So it's no surprise there. 5 was Bishop. Bishop's running the World Outlaws, so toss him out.
McCready, Dalton Wilson, Bronson is out. Clay Harris.
That was somebody I was going to ask. Is Bronson running Lucas Oil or is he running World Outlaws?
I think he's always been a World Outlaws guy, so that's where I'm thinking he's headed. Could be wrong, but I think.
I mean, I wouldn't want to race Moran, O'Neill, Ricky Thornton Jr. I wouldn't want to race those guys every week either.
Yeah, but I
guess
also don't want to race Bobby Pierce.
I guess pick your poison.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess if you go to World Outlaws, you're racing Bobby Pierce and Brandon Shepard every week.
Yep.
Go to Lucas Oil.
So that's just where the points shake out. I just had to look out of curiosity.
Yeah.
So
Kelly,
And that
your boy Air Force. What's he got going on?
Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series.
Is that what he's running?
Yeah. Yep. He's gonna hunt the front. So yeah, slick looking race car though. I do like that paint scheme with the white and the neon yellow and the blue. So yeah.
As we were recording this as well, Monday's night show at East Bay, the Winter Nationals, was rained out. They are postponing it, so they're going to run that throughout the rest of the week. So they're going to do, if I'm reading this right,
This
they're
was
going to
this was extremely hard to follow.
So they're gonna at the conclusion of Tuesday's night program, they're gonna do time trials of Monday's program. On Wednesday, they're gonna do the heat races and the B mains that would have ran on Monday. And then on Thursday, they're gonna run the 25 lap A main that would have ran on Monday after Thursday night's program. So basically all the Monday stuff happens after everything that happens on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Yeah.
So
Got it.
basically
And-
Thursday, you're gonna have two A mains.
And just to clarify for everybody, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday portion of this week at East Bay is non-points. The only points race for Lucas Oil is Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yep.
So these first 3 nights were basically, practice sessions. So you heard Jonathan Davenport say, yeah, we'll maybe run, Wednesday night. So these first couple nights here were not points related. So that's going to be kind of interesting on Thursday night. You're going to run a points feature and then follow it up with a
Non-points feature.
points feature. I don't know.
Hey, do what they want to do.
Racing's racing. I'll watch it. I'll tell you that much for
Yep, fair enough. Fair enough.
Little
I've
double
always said I'll
feature.
watch big wheel racing for a paper mache trophy. So
Yeah.
maybe a case of beer, but
Yeah, dude. Oh man.
No,
But yeah,
so
I thought overall, it was good. I thought, again, good weekend of racing for that series. And got to see a good amount of names that you typically don't see running, up front every week, so to speak. The Clay Harris, the Joyner.
yeah,
I mean,
for
could
sure.
even say Gary Alberson, the Reaper, Ryan Gustin threw it up there. So yeah, overall it's good couple nights at All Tech, and then we mentioned first night got rained out here, but it'll be 5 nights of racing at East Bay that I'll drop a preview later in the week.
there you go. So no, Lucas Oil's again getting hot and heavy into the year. Got a lot of great racing coming up. I kind of slacked off a little bit, so hopefully I can make up for it this week. So no, any final thoughts before we move on to our, I guess, featured topic of the week?
Nope, let's fire away. I'm ready.
Fire away.
Can you guys finish final thoughts? I gotta take a quick bathroom break before
Oh,
I get in.
Jesus.
Come on.
Oh man. No, I did kind of slack off a little bit. I did dip out completely on Lucas Oil, but I wasn't as full out attention as I could have been. So
Yeah, I was pretty much locked in Friday night. Saturday night I was kind of hit and miss going back and forth between the Clash and Lucas Oil.
yep.
So
That's definitely where my Saturday went was with a Clash. So
yep. Yeah. So
but good, like I was saying, it's just good to get some NASCAR back on track, and I think all the teams are pretty much ready to go. And
yeah, it's always interesting how the Clash shakes out because you never know who's going to leave there pissed off at the other, and it takes
yep.
half the season to get that right, which keeps the storylines in tune with all that good stuff. So
Yep. Are you ready there?
Oh yeah, you ready to see the schedule?
I
Yeah.
suppose, especially
you're
since
first.
you're up first here. So,
Yep.
And so I use the bathroom.
oh, jeez.
Did you give a rundown while I was in the bathroom what we got going on here?
Oh no, we didn't. So basically we were told we're making the 2024 schedule. We're using the tracks that were on the schedule, so we can't introduce any new tracks. We can move them around as we feel we want to. And we did come up in the middle of the week that the Clash is open for discussion. So we could bring it to any track that we wanted to within reason. So we're not going to Slinger in February, but oh God.
Alan put a dome up.
So no, same tracks that are currently on the schedule. Clash is open for discussion, and that's about it.
Yep.
Everything's on the table. So no, I think that's about it. So Cam, if you're ready to go, since you were doing some last minute editing before we hopped on, but
Yep, I'm just gonna give her one last check here. Check.
Yep, fire away.
All right. I was gonna show a YouTube video before, but I can't quite pull it up in
Oh
time.
God.
All right.
Well, I'm curious. I'm
That's
intrigued.
what I'm.
So, yeah, I'll just give you a little preface here on the thought process and what I got going on here. So I kind of this stupid bar. So I guess moral of the story here with me is I guess I try to keep, some of these, West Coast swings, East Coast, whatever. I kind of try to keep the swings a little bit together, but after that, um, I just went with my heart and put together what I think would be the best 2024 schedule. So we might as well get right into this. Looks like we're clicking. So as you can see here, here's the current schedule. We can revert back to this if we need to. This is where this is going to be our reference point. I was going to try to, yeah, I'm just getting my speaker view situated. Can you guys see that or no?
No.
Always use your PowerPoint. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So yeah, this is the current schedule, and without further ado, I guess let's get right into it. And see what kind of crazy questions you got. So I kind of did this, broke it up, first half of the schedule, second half, and then I did a couple different slides for playoff races and championship race. So first half of the schedule here. This is what we're looking at.
Oh
Biggest
God.
biggest debate here that we got going on right now is we're still in negotiations with where the Clash is going to be at.
Five Flags or Bowman? Wow.
Yikes. I'm going wow at Bowman.
Bowman Gray. Yeesh.
They tested the next gen car there.
They did.
And I don't know if you guys have ever paid attention to what goes on at Bowman Gray, but typically tempers flare there. So, and I was thinking, hey, if we're going to go away from the Clash, Kellen, you alluded to it before. Hey, we're going to keep this at a short track. We're not going to a road course. We're not going to a mile and a half. And we're definitely not going restrictor plate racing. We're going back to Bowman Gray. And I don't know if you guys saw Justin Marks. He kind of put out his tweet and his sense here, saying NASCAR should go back to kind of the grassroots racing and get back to that kind of aspect of it. So that's Five Flags or Bowman Gray for the Clash. And then as you can see, kind of a standard make our way over to the west side of the United States. So we're going to run the Daytona. That just has to say where it is. No question about it. And then we're going to start heading west. And on our way west, we're going to hit Coda. Thought process here is just not a big Coda fan, so let's just get it out of the way early in the year. While we're in Coda, we'll knock out Texas as well. And then you get into kind of your true West Coast swing. We hit up Vegas. I think that's right around where it's usually raced. And then again, while we're out there, I'm not a road course guy, so let's just get Sonoma out of the way. Let's knock it out. Never go back. And then we're gonna hit up Phoenix, which is again out on that. They do go there relatively early in the year. So get that one practice session for the championship race. Week 7, this is Easter weekend, I believe, and we've got to keep that Bristol on a Sunday night 7:00 race. I love that. So that I believe is the Easter weekend. Going back there, then we're gonna finish up some of the going back across the United States, obviously with Bristol. get into Atlanta, Darlington, Martinsville, Dover. Week 12, again, let's just knock out this road course. Let's get it out of the way. And then we're going to go to Pocono. So that's the first half of the schedule for the Gas Man here. Thoughts, questions, concerns?
Just a good mixed bag of treats.
Yeah,
I
a
like
little bit heavy on the road courses, to be honest with you, but I tried to sporadically, hey, let's go, here's a Bristol, Atlanta, Darlington, Martinsville, that good mix of, hey, here's a short Atlanta kind of races like a restrictor plate. Then you go to Darlington, back to a short track, Dover kind of races mile and a half. Then you go to a road course, then you go to Pocono, 2.5 mile track. So try to give it a good mix while also being effective with the travel.
All right.
So you moved Walking Glen really far up. Wow.
Yep.
I forgot about Easter. I'm not gonna lie. So it's a little bit different. I do like Bristol on Easter Sunday as well. Um, yeah, you're just really short. You're just really road course heavy right out of the gate. Wow.
Let's get this second half going here.
Yeah, now I'm intrigued.
Yeah, and you got me thinking here.
So, second half of the schedule here. Let's roll right into it. So, week 14, this should be All-Star weekend. Keeping that at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Enjoy where that is. Following weekend, we follow that up with the Coke 600. As iconic as it is, it's got to stay at Charlotte.
You spelled Charlotte wrong too.
Oh, my bad.
Indianapolis. Jeez.
Anyways, so Charlotte Motor Speedway's got to stay. Got to stay the Coke 600. That's a crown jewel. Can't touch that on Memorial Day weekend, so that's got to stay. But then we get into, again, just another kind of mixed bag here. So we get into Kansas, we get into Richmond, then we go out east, we hit up New Hampshire, Talladega, Indianapolis, a little bit of a Midwest swing here. Indianapolis, Chicago street race. I believe I kept it on like that July 4th. Like it. Want to come back to the Chicago street course just for the fact of, for us, it's a close NASCAR race and the experience I had there was awesome. So keeping that on that July, I think it's July 7th, right after the 4th weekend. Worldwide Technology Raceway, knock that out of the park, get up to Michigan, and then we go back and finish up our East Coast swing. We got Homestead, Darlington, Martinsville again, and then Phoenix.
Well, something I'm observing as somebody that's watching this, looking at the second half of the season, you're at Phoenix twice already. You're at Martinsville twice already. You're at Darlington twice already. So those are 3 tracks you're not going to in the playoffs.
And you moved Homestead up as well out of the playoffs.
Yep.
Correct.
Did we already go to Talladega twice?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay.
There's one in there, but he's killed all the road courses, so there's no road course races in the playoffs, I don't think.
Nope, we're missing the Roval.
Oh, yeah, it's in there. Yep, this is true.
All right. So you guys are pointing out the obvious so far. So
All right, come on, what do we got here? You're
All
teasing.
right, so now we're getting into playoffs territory.
playoffs. So obviously
Playoffs.
Yep. So you caught the first one. Obviously, Phoenix is no longer in the playoffs, but we'll keep it at the cut race. So round of 16, the 3 tracks we're going to in the round of 16. It's 3 tracks, correct?
Correct.
All right. So the round of 16.
Okay.
We're going Las Vegas. We're going to go to a 1.5 miles. Produces great racing. We're going to go to Talladega Super Speedway, and then Nashville as well. I enjoyed the Nashville race when they went there, and I thought it put on good racing. So I like that kind of mix right there. And I like Nashville being a cut.
Okay. All right. I can appreciate
Interesting.
that.
I like the mixture of tracks.
Yep.
I could agree with that.
Okay.
Okay.
And we get into the round of 12.
God, you really botched Charlotte on that one.
So should have just took that off and put Roval.
It's like Carlotte.
Yep. Carlotte. So
It might be with the way they wreck cars.
Heyo.
for real. So we're going to Carlotte Roval. We're going to go to Charlotte Roval in the round of 12. Again, I thought I didn't want to be too rude and not throw the road course warriors, the McDowells, those guys of the world, the Dinger, if they're in there, got to throw one in there and give them a chance to get a win. So kept a road course in the playoffs. They're on 12 here, going to Kansas again in the playoffs. And then Bristol's going to be a round of 12 cut race. So
Kansas Motor Speedway.
Speedway.
Jeez.
Dude. Man.
Tough day on the English.
It's a good thing you work with numbers.
Yeah. Not an English major, but I like Bristol being a cut race. So keeping Bristol as a cut race in the round of 12. It's got to stay there. Got to be a cut race. So that's where we're going. So
Other than the spelling, I can agree with the round of 12 as well.
Yep, I appreciate
I'm
that.
sold on that one.
3 different
So-
styles, 3 different winners.
So, do you guys have any guesses of where we're going for the round of 8?
I was about to say, what do we got left? We got another Talladega race yet.
We got a Bristol yet.
No, we already got the 2 Bristols out. Because we had the Easter Sunday one.
Oh man.
Did we get a second Daytona in?
No, we're going back to
So we
Daytona.
got a second Daytona.
Yet. Is there a second Atlanta in there yet?
Did we do Michigan?
No, we're going to Michigan again for sure.
Kansas?
Come on.
All right, so the round of 8.
We had to have named them all. Atlanta. Iowa. I forgot about Iowa.
Yup.
So
It.
we're going to Atlanta Motor Speedway here again. This is where I kind of was debating. Atlanta's what, a 1.5 mile or 2 mile track, but it races like a restrictor plate. Like that track there. I know Denny hates it because then he's gonna say, yeah, we're just showing it's whoever gets the most lucky in the playoffs, but threw it in the round of 8. Also threw Iowa in there, short track. This will be getting into October. Temperatures will be cooling off, but Iowa is what I believe is going to be a sleeper track, a short track that's gonna provide 2 lanes of racing. I think it's going to put on a good show. So I put Iowa in the round of 8. I think it is people are sleeping on the product that I was going to put on. So that'll be a good mix of your shorter track racing there. And then you start the year with the biggest race of the year. And then to set the championship for, we're going back to Daytona, Coke Zero, under the lights. We're going to Daytona to set the Final 4.
That's scary.
This is like Frankenstein's monster.
This round is scary.
Man. So now I'm trying to. What tracks do we have left for the championship race? We named it off, and I don't remember one we named off now.
Is there a Martinsville left?
Nope. I think we got all of Martinsville.
Okay. What do we got?
What do we got?
So in the Gasman's NASCAR Championship, we are going to
Set Richmond.
Okay.
Really?
All
going to
right.
Richmond Speedway.
The bottom picture kind of looks like Daytona a little bit.
Wow.
Okay.
So
All
we're going
right.
to Richmond for the championship. And I want to keep it. I want to keep it that 1.5 mile or smaller length track. And I just really enjoy the racing that Richmond puts on. Shorter track, but again, you can get 2 or 3 lanes in these races. You can get a guy running the very inside. You can get somebody stuck in the middle and somebody on the high side. So pretty technical track as well. And I just think one of these scenes here a championship race under the lights at Richmond, nothing would beat it.
Hell, I'm in. I'm
Wow.
sold. I can rip that.
Hmm. I
Well,
don't know if I'm sold on it, but I love the wild and crazy that comes with it.
here's a question. Would you change the route if you had to pick one? Would you change his rounds or would you change his championship race? Okay, you can't do both. You gotta do one or the
I
other.
know, yeah. I don't know.
Van Roll just doesn't like it because we're not keeping it. We're not going to Phoenix for the championship.
No, it's not even that.
He's gonna
It's
keep things status quo.
no, it's not even that. It's I don't know if Richmond deserves to have the championship race.
The
Honestly.
Toyota, the Toyota owner's 400 for the championship.
If I and I don't know, I'm just not sold on the championship. I like the rounds. I'm just that championship race I'm not sold on.
Okay, well,
I guess
here's
yeah, we'll get into
fight for
yours and
yourself.
we'll see
Yeah.
what
All right. About that, do you want to do now, or we got any other final thoughts here?
No, I
yeah,
think
you guys can throw your final thoughts at me.
let's rip through the other two and then let's reconvene.
All right, let me get set up here because I got move my notes down here.
Oh, God knows I'm just ripping the shit out of his championship race.
Wow. All right.
Richmond will give you that 2, 3 lanes of racing, but it also will give you that short track feel where guys are going to be bumping and shoving each other out of the way,
Yep.
running up the track.
Yep.
I'll do
All
my
right.
damnedest to go to bat for that. But anyways,
So this is obviously a theoretical schedule. There's a reason why we are in the position that we're in currently and not in NASCAR in any way, shape, or form. So let me just throw that disclaimer out there right away.
Okay.
I just realized my spelling is terrible because I do tire change cam. So we're off to a hot start. So some key points I want to make before we really dive in. I'm stating right now the crown jewels are the Daytona 500, the Southern 500, the Brickyard 400, and the Coke 600. Those are the crown jewels, and that'll kind of come into play for one of these races. So keep that in mind. I tried to stick with the traditional dates for some, moved some other races around to do dates. I tried to kind of the same thing, get the swings together, so get like the group of types of races or the destinations together. Uh, Doubleheader for a with another racing series. Hint, hint. But I put the stipulation in there as well as whatever if Fox had X amount of races at these tracks, I stuck with that. So basically the same first half races are in the first half of my schedule as the original schedule. So I'm not moving Watkins Glen from NBC to Fox type of thing like Cam did.
Oh,
So I'm,
man,
whatever Fox had for races this year, they kept those races.
okay. All
So I
right.
stuck with that. So starting out, mine are grouped in together as well. I might get some flack for this, but I'm going to stand my ground on it as well. I'm keeping the Clash at the Coliseum
Whoa.
just because I think you have to get to a new market. And I think if you go to a Bowman Gray, if you go to a Five Flags where racing is already pretty well established, I think you just lose out on the new fans you can bring in. So I'm
Okay.
sticking with at the Clash for that at the Coliseum for that reason. Otherwise, obviously Daytona's first on the schedule. I went to Texas. I just don't like doing Atlanta and Daytona back to back as far as super speed races go. So I moved Atlanta down. So I moved Texas up, and then I'm doing a full West Coast swing. Vegas, Phoenix, Sonoma. Hit those on the way back. You swing through the Circuit of the Americas, and you hit Atlanta. So that's kind of where
so
that first part falls through.
for ripping on my schedule, we're pretty damn close here.
I wasn't ripping on it by any means. Just the latter part I was, but I was pretty well set with you on that first half. So
Texas,
that's
we're both in the first 3 weeks. Vegas in the first 4 weeks, both.
we did the full West Coast swing.
Yep, you got Circuit of the Americas. So, all right.
I think we're pretty well set. So moving on, I'm also doing a short track swing. So I've got Bristol, Richmond, and Martinsville. All three in a row right away.
Okay.
I missed out on the opportunity of having Bristol as the Easter race, so it ends up actually being Atlanta is the Easter race, if we're kind of going off of dates as well. Otherwise, we go to Talladega, Dover, Darlington, keep that on Mother's Day weekend. I like that. And you also make it throwback weekend. And then you have the All-Star race, and you keep that at North Wilkesboro as well. I just, especially with the new pave that they got going there, I think it worked out really well as far as having a lot of racing there for the entire week. So I'm keeping that there as well. So not a whole lot changed in this one. Pretty much stuck to the same schedule. Any thoughts with that one? I know,
I don't
Kellen,
mind
I
it.
saw your eyes go up with the short track swing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like to spread my short tracks out, but I don't mind it because you got a Dega, a Darlington, and then the All Star race. That
Mm-hmm.
to me, the only ones I didn't like was the back to back Richmond, Bristol, Richmond, Martinsville.
Sure.
But other than
Again,
that, the bottom I can rip.
and that's kind of where, like I said, it's Fox kept those same races, so that's where I was kind of stuck with as well. So, otherwise, obviously, Coke 600, you keep that on Memorial Day weekend. I did Iowa and then Kansas, and that ends the Fox broadcast. And then as you pick up NBC, I think a banger of a race to start off with is that Nashville race. Start out there, you go to the Chicago Street Course, and then the Brickyard 400. Like I said, crown jewel race. I think it needs to be on a big date. So I put it on the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, and it's kind of hinted at too, 3 of the 4 crown jewels that I talked about, other than Daytona, fall on a holiday weekend.
That I appreciate.
So that's why I moved that Brickyard 400 to the 4th of July weekend. And I think a good follow-up race is Pocono. I think that I like Pocono a lot. I like the way it races, and I think that'd just be a good follow-up.
Okay.
Second Richmond race, Michigan, Worldwide Technology, that St. Louis track, that's the doubleheader with IndyCar. I really liked it when they had the doubleheader with IndyCar at the Indy Road Course. I think you could pull that same thing off here. I don't like it at Iowa because IndyCar has the doubleheader day there. They do race Saturday and Sunday. I think here it just schedule wise will work better by doing it at Gateway. So I'm throwing
Yep.
that in there. I was looking at this as well. I had to keep Darlington, the Southern 500, on Labor Day weekend, which ends up being the playoff cut, the regular season championship race.
Yep.
So by virtue, the Coke 400 gets moved to the weekend before.
Yep.
Which is what's
So-
happening in the actual schedule this year.
Correct. So that is how the regular season plays out for my schedule. Any thoughts before we move into the playoffs?
No, I don't think we've been to Kansas yet. Got another Martinsville, another Bristol, another Dega. We haven't hit the Roval yet. We haven't hit Walklands Glen.
Mm-hmm.
We going to Sonoma yet? Nope.
Nope, we went to Sonoma already.
Okay. right.
He's keeping the roll in there. All right, let's get into it.
So I am gonna be a little lame. I will say that ahead of time. I pretty much kept the playoff schedule. I really like how it lays out between the mixes of tracks and it's just the order that they're hit in. So I kept it the way it was actually. Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Bristol Night Race, Kansas, Talladega, Roval. I think it's just you get everything you could want in each of those rounds. You hit each type of track. You're all over the place. I just like it. I think the way that they had it originally scheduled was perfect. So I've got Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville, Phoenix.
Fair
I kept
enough.
it the way it was. I like the playoffs.
Fair enough.
I
I
think it's perfect.
I can
So
appreciate that.
so that's where my schedule plays out. Like I said, I kind of stuck with more of not messing with who gets what races, and then also monkeyed with a few dates with crown jewel races. So I really was like the first things that I thought of was Indy 500 or the Brickyard 400 as a crown jewel race and trying to match it up with IndyCar. Those were my first two thoughts when I came to, all right, how am I going to make my schedule?
Okay. Well, I took a wildly different approach than either of you guys did.
So that's what I got. It's my story and I'm sticking to it, damn it.
Okay.
I guess I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised.
You're surprised. What are you surprised of? That I
I guess
didn't mix it up
given
more?
I guess given the freedom that we had, that you didn't throw your own wrinkle in it, but then not surprised being as traditional and original of a NASCAR fan as you are, that you kept it the way it is.
So kind of going on that thought, I thought you were going to keep the tracks in the same grouping, but reorder them a little bit.
Sure.
So NASCAR or the playoffs, I could have seen you keeping the exact same tracks and the exact same rounds, but shuffling the orders.
Sure.
So that when I saw that, I'm like, he's gonna switch a couple of them from orders rather than shuffle tracks within rounds.
And like the thing with that too is like looking at round 3. I think Martinsville as that last race is perfect. I could have maybe switched round 1 and 2, but that would have been about it. Make the Bristol night race the round 2 cutoff.
Yep.
Like that
So
would have
that was
been,
my thought. That was my
yep,
initial.
that would have been damn near the only thing I would have maybe done. Like I said, those were the Brickyard 400 and the doubleheader with IndyCar. Like those were the first 2 points that I wanted to make, and that kind of was what drove my schedule. If I didn't stick with the TV package deal, I probably could have gone a little more spread out with it, but for the sake of that, I think that's what kind of limited me. Now, if I had Road America in there and the new Fontana track, I think that would have been a lot different as well. Which I still think they have to go back to Road America. That it has to be on the Cup schedule.
Yeah.
I will pick it outside wherever I need to pick it out of to get Road America back on the schedule. I think that's a big opportunity missed.
Oh, come on.
You ready?
Well, you need to liven this back up because I was too boring.
Oh,
He was giving away our content for next week.
Oh, sure.
this is gonna get rowdy. Watch this.
Yeah,
All right.
so out of anybody, this is where I feel we go the furthest from the mean.
Oh God.
Oh yeah. So
Jackman is going to Slinger for the Clash. He's got WIR on for the cutoff race for the Final Four. Yeah. This is where we go the furthest from the mean, right
At
here.
least I hope we at least got the pick right for the Clash. Like we're pretty much committed to Slinger for the Clash at this point.
all right. So uh, here's the official NASCAR schedule, right? This is when you look at this. This is the schedule right now.
Yep.
Well, one thing I want you to know, and we'll revisit these numbers. These numbers here along this right hand column, what these are, is its distance from one track to the next.
Got it.
So when you look at this, like I'm looking at the top, the distance from Coda to Richmond is 1,483 miles. So as you go down, right, that's how that falls. So like Charlotte to Worldwide Tech, 732 miles. Like that's the distance between tracks. So the 953, that is your average travel from track to track if you drove from one right to the next. And then the 1164 is the average in the playoffs. So I'll bring these numbers back, but I just want you to understand that this is how this works. I calculated all these on a
All right.
on a on the Excel. So here we go. So when you look at this, this is kind of some statistics in terms of the drive. So your average is 953. The current Cup schedule is 953 from track to track, with the longest being 2,000 miles and the shortest being 80. In the playoffs, your average is 1,164 miles. Longest is 2,500, which is Vegas to Homestead. And your shortest being 287 from Darlington to Atlanta. So just kind of some statistical background, just kind of looking at travel and numbers and all the other things that go into just getting there to begin with. Here's mine. This is where things get a little interesting. I've now chopped these numbers in half. When you look at this, my average regular season travel is 407 miles. The longest being 1440 from Iowa to Vegas. So you're going to kind of see a couple of them here.
Okay.
My shortest being Charlotte to North Wilkesboro, just like previous. My playoffs average travel is 745 miles, longest being 1,700 from Pocono to Coda.
Well, I already know 3 races in a row.
And then Dover to Pocono. But do you?
Yeah.
You don't. Maybe we're going to Pocono in the playoffs twice, not in the regular season.
Jesus.
Maybe you don't know. So I had to use the silly season graphic because this is where
Getting silly.
Stuff's going to get silly here in this graphic. So when you look at this, here's the side by side comparison. So when I talk about average mileage, like just raw getting there, I've cut the travel time down significantly. I think when you see this, you're gonna go, wait, what? So this is just kind of the side by side comparison. So down quite a bit for travel if you left one track and went right to the next. This is kind of what it looks like, starting at the bottom. And you're gonna go up the East Coast, you're gonna go up there, you're gonna go down kind of in the middle, catch some of these middle eastern US tracks. You're gonna go whoop, you're gonna shoot across to the West Coast, go down, beep bop down through Texas, and then head yourself right back to where you started.
So how is Pocono and Coda fitting in that playoff schedule?
Let me show you. All right.
Oh my God. You did not put Madison on the schedule.
Dude, it's warm enough this weekend. We can run the Clash at Madison.
You are a goddamn genius.
It's the what did I call it? I can't see the thing because my
Madness
picture.
and Madison 500.
Yeah, dude, half-mile track. Park them in here,
You're
man.
a
I'll go up
goddamn
there.
genius.
I'll go up there.
Oh man.
my Clash, my one free one was Madison. Okay, so I did it a little different than you guys did in terms of like holidays, and I kept all of the races attached to the tracks the same, but I moved the tracks around. And I added an additional bye week at the end of the regular season. So
Okay.
I literally took my schedule and I traced the outline of the United States. We started in Florida and we finished close to Florida for the regular season. So I go Daytona 500, then we go to Homestead, Atlanta, Darlington, the Charlotte Roval for the Coke 600. So you got the Southern 500 and the Coke 600 back to back.
You have 3
Yep.
crown jewel races in the first 5 races of the year.
Yep. So then we go from Charlotte to Wilkesboro for the All-Star Showdown, Martinsville, Richmond, Dover, Pocono, New Hampshire for the Cup race there. Then we go to Watkins Glen and Michigan International. So that's the first half of the regular season. So we kind of take the East Coast, we go up the East Coast, we go all the way up to New Hampshire, spin around. We're gonna start coming back down. We catch Pocono on the way through Watkins Glen, Michigan. Then everyone gets a bye week. Head back to the shop. We're gonna regroup, build some cars, figure out if we found anything or not. Second half of the season, we fire up at Indianapolis for the Richmond 400, coming off the bye week. What?
Keep rolling.
We go to Nashville, right? Just a quick little bounce down the road to Bristol. Then we head up to the Chicago Street Course. From Chicago, we're going to go to Worldwide Tech. From there, we're going to go to Kansas. Iowa, I made the name up. All the blue ones are names that I made up for the races. I felt like it needed one, so I couldn't leave it blank. Then we go to Las Vegas, Sonoma, Phoenix. You catch Coda, bounce to Texas, and then you finish the regular season at Talladega.
Yeah,
Have you guys
let me
have
just
you
get
guys figured out anything, any correlation to these 26 races?
I'm baffled at
yeah,
if
me too.
I'm sticking with the same crown jewels, that they're all done in the first 14, 15 weeks of the season.
I feel like we could give a break before we go to the Brickyard
And the
season.
All-Star, literally, you just went bam, 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 crown
Yep.
jewel, crown jewel, crown
Yep.
jewel. My God.
So here's what I'm going to tell you, and you're going to tell me I'm crazy. If you look at these 26 races, we did not go to a single track twice in the regular season.
Oh God. So we got another Bristol, we got another Kansas, got another Vegas, got another Dega,
Another Daytona.
another
Maybe. You,
Texas.
so in my first 26 weeks, these are your
We even
test.
hit. Okay, we did.
You get your test week to get ready for the playoffs. I do not go to a single track twice in the regular
Got
season.
another Atlanta.
You can go to any of these 26 tracks for the second time.
Yeah.
Another Martinsville. Another Charlotte.
When I get
Jesus.
ready to go into the playoffs, um, there's no bars hold. We're going all over and we're going everywhere. And I picked my favorite tracks going into the playoffs. So here are my playoff rounds. Round of 16, we go Kansas to the Roval to Dega. So you got an intermediate, a road course, and a super speedway. The round of 12, we went to Iowa 2.0, Michigan 2.0, Dover to finish the round of 12.
Huh.
The round of 8, we go to Pocono, playoffs at the Pond 300, Coda, and then we go to Martinsville to finish the round of 8, with my championship race being the Bristol night race, the Bass Pro Shops night race. So I went one visit for wherever except for the Roval for the regular season, and then playoffs, all my favorite tracks. Well, not all of them, but I kept it very interesting. So complete wild card here in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm digging it.
I
I
am
like.
baffled.
Yeah, I'm mind boggled. I'm good with round of 16. I like round of 12, but this round of 8 mixed bag of shit, we've got to spread out a little bit.
He's
Can we
referring
maybe
to
throw a Mich
for
can we
those.
maybe swap a Michigan and a Coda or Pocono? And
So
I'm
for,
actually baffled that you
for
chose
those that are
Pocono.
listening, he's referring to the round of 8 being Pocono, Coda, and Martinsville.
I'm actually baffled that you put Pocono and Coda in the playoffs. Are you that big a fan of those races?
I kind of think Pocono should be in the playoffs.
I like Pocono. I
Coda,
like Pocono.
I needed a road course in the round of 8 because we got to get one random winner in there.
My only thought is that you switch Coda and the Roval.
Okay, yeah, you can put Roll in the round of 8. I could agree with that. But yeah, that's where I went with my
So
playoff.
we knew we were going to be I knew we were going to be similar. I had Bristol as my championship track, but I also was like, I knew there was a good chance you were going to do it. And also, I guess it can be Richmond too, but you get into
Oh, Jesus. If for those that are listening, he just popped up another slide on here that says NASCAR, the decision is yours. Dot dot dot.
So yeah, that is my schedule.
I,
I know I'm the furthest thing from traditional, but I like that. I
I
love
know I call Cameron's schedule the Frankenstein's monster.
yeah.
Yours is Frankenstein in the building that he came in.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So obviously I was the most content with the schedule.
Yeah.
Cam went a little more modded and Kellen just went all over the goddamn place.
I went nuclear on that thing. I blew it up and we started over.
Man.
Oh, part of my regular season thing, and you guys probably didn't catch this, but part of my regular season deal with kind of just doing the swings and tracing the way I did was it gives opportunity for people in those regions that if 1 week doesn't work, you can potentially catch the next within reason.
Sure.
So like when you think about it, like for us, Chicago and Iowa were in the area. We have Chicago, Michigan, Kansas, and Iowa, like in that stretch of 5 weeks that if you can't get to one, that will give you the opportunity to get to one of the other ones within reason. So I
Yep.
felt like now the Southeast gets a little crowded because a lot of the tracks are in the Carolinas and Tennessee and Virginia, and it gets crowded down there. But for those regions, you go to the West Coast, they don't have many opportunities to get there. So if you can't get to Texas, you can potentially get to Vegas, you could potentially get to Sonoma. So from a fan logistics standpoint, I was thinking about it and I kind of thought about it for myself as like, man, if I can't get to Kansas, could I get to Iowa? If I can't get to the street course, could I get to Iowa? Um, so that was part of my rationale in terms of tracing it the way I did, where it's not necessarily a swing per se, but it is in the sense of they go from track to track within that region.
Sure.
So that was kind of my rationale as I was thinking about it. I kind of applied it to myself a little bit of how could I make that within reason for those fan bases in those areas. So that's how I looked at the regular season. And then playoffs, I picked what I wanted.
Yeah.
We just went crazy.
Jesus.
So there you have it.
I actually just can't get over that you put Coda and Pocono in the round of 8.
I like Pocono.
Hell yeah.
I like Pocono.
So yeah, there you go. NASCAR, you got 3 schedules. It's easy.
Man. I'm so baffled. I don't even know where to go. Like,
I knew that's why you guys left me for last. I really, hell yeah.
man. Tell us we're idiots if you feel like our schedules are something else to behold of, but obviously I'll do my best to post these up on social media and you guys can pick them apart as you need to. So no, I think this was another good exercise that we did here, kind of get the brain flowing. And I think we saw each other's different mindset coming into this too. I think we all had 3 different things that we wanted to do with the schedule, and I think we saw it in our schedules and made for some good conversation. We'll say that.
Sure.
So I did in one of my schedule makes, I did have Daytona being the championship race.
Too much random.
Yes. Yeah.
Start the year with the biggest race and end the year with
Too much randomness.
Yeah.
Same
Yep.
at the same
100%. So should we transition out of this or should we get into some quick race previews here?
For sure.
So we'll start out with we mentioned earlier that Lucas Oil is on a really long stretch here right now. We mentioned earlier too that the East Bay got rained out tonight at the Winter Nationals. Cam, I believe you wanted to kind of dive maybe a little bit more into the Winter Nationals briefly.
Yeah, we'll just get into it briefly. I don't know if we're gonna take this before we hit them briefly. Do we want to kind of throw our idea out there, what we're bringing to the people, or no?
Yeah, why not?
So I guess, yeah, we're going to keep these race previews. that we usually drop here at the end of the episode, we're going to keep them in the same spot as the episode, but is what you're going to catch is you're going to catch a real Cliff Note version. Where the race is, what series, and maybe, one or two big points. And then something we're going to start rolling out. I forget what the official name is, but one of the things we're going to start rolling out is the pit road previews. And is what we're going to do is the three of us, we're going to take these race previews and we're going to roll them out later in the week as we get closer to race day. One of us is going to take a race that we're interested in watching, and we're just going to drop, maybe a 2-minute video. Going to give you a quick few stats, where they're going, what series, and then, maybe point standings and, what are some storylines to watch, or some previous winners. So this now moving forward, we're going to keep this race preview. We're going to play around with this, keep this race preview real short. And then you can tune into, hopefully you get a 2-minute video as we get closer to race day. Another reason to turn the bell on for the YouTube channel. You're going to catch a 2-minute video that hopefully you'll be able to, watch our 2-minute race preview, know where the series is at, maybe some point standings, and then what are, 1 or 2 storylines for the races coming up in the weekend. So something new we want to try, and just continue to change up kind of the structure and be able to roll more content out later in the week. So yeah, but without further ado, here goes the first Cliff Noted version. So yeah, we mentioned earlier, Lucas Oil's on a big stretch of racing here. Monday night, as we're recording, got rained out, and that is going to get made up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But Lucas Oil is going to race Tuesday through Saturday. That being Tuesday and Wednesday now, and one feature on Thursday are not going to be points races. And then a feature on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday will all be points races for Lucas Oil. So that's where I'll leave it. And then you'll be able to tune in to a pit road preview later in the week. Probably going to drop Thursday morning as we get into the first points race for Lucas Oil on Thursday night. So next race preview, Kel, I think you're going to touch on it. And
we got World of All Sprint Cars at Volusia. So basically what it comes down to is we finally have some sprint car racing, get these guys going. They're going to run February 7th to the 10th. So they got 4 days of racing for the Federated Auto Parts Dirt Car Nationals. So big half-mile track. They got the Dirt Car Nationals going on down there. So tune in and don't be surprised if you got a couple high limit guys trying to spoil the fun down there as sprint car racing finally gets going.
I think the other thing too, and those for those that are kind of modified guys as well, Kenny Wallace is down there running the Nationals this weekend with a car owned by Nick Hoffman. Fun fact.
Yep.
So Hoffman's got 2 caps on. I'm going to round it out with the World Series of Asphalt stock car racing coming up at New Smyrna this week. It's going to start on really Thursday, the 8th, with some practice, but then really starts Friday, the 9th, and it runs through the 17th. So you get 9 nights of racing in a row. We'll talk about the ASA Star Race in the middle of that next week, but the big one coming up for that is going to be the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Series. They are going to be running on Saturday, along with having their super late model programs and their pro late model programs throughout the week. So this is always a traditional race leading up to the Daytona 500, obviously, and Speed Weeks. Keep an eye on that. Casey Roderick was your champion of it last year as well. So that is something that I'm keeping an eye on. And like I said, that's going to be an entire week deal down there. So keep an eye out, like Cam was saying, on the socials, every TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, whatever the case may be, for those extended race previews. We'll dive a little bit deeper into those and kind of see how this goes, experiment with a little bit and see what we can get out of it. So any other final thoughts here, fellas, before we kind of wrap it up here for the night?
no, I'm excited to kind of roll out these new race previews. Hopefully we'll be able to, roll out more racing content for you as well. But you won't have to, listen to a whole episode to look for a preview. We'll just be able to give it to you, hopefully in less than 2 minutes if we're more efficient. Hopefully we can roll it out in a short But no, just excited to roll these out and kind of see where things go, and hopefully, we can generate a
Yeah.
little bit more fan interaction or listener interaction, and yeah, again, just share our love for racing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got the first one uploaded and ready to go. It's just not as private yet, so
Sure. Yep.
things in there already.
Didn't see the old promo. Open up the YouTube app on my TV and it says debuting February 7th at
Premiere. Yeah.
Couple of bullet points here before we really do wrap up. Next week's topic, we're gonna kind of get you up to speed as far as what the 2024 season comes. I know we talked about our expectations and talked about some other things, but we're just gonna kind of hit some storylines, kind of some what happened over silly season. Toyota and Ford came out with some new bodies and just kind of hot or cold seats. Who do we think is kind of on a hot and cold seat as well? So kind of focusing on everything, getting ready for the Daytona 500. And also in preparation for that, we're going to be starting a fantasy league. I know we've talked about it a lot last year amongst the three of us and fantasy and how that played out. We're going to open it up. Anybody that wants to hop in with us, they can join us. It is the Three Stones Pit Crew Fantasy. We are playing on NASCAR Fantasy Live. We'll release some more information on that as leagues can get enrolled into and drivers can be picked. We'll put some stuff out on socials as well, but we're opening it up. We want some competition this year, and we want to get some more trash talking going on amongst everybody. So keep an eye out for that. Hop on in, and we'll be excited to get everybody in our own fantasy league this year. So no, another great week of discussion, especially with the 2024 schedule. A lot of great racing coming up this week. As always, make sure you can get up to your local short track as well. Support them as they get back up and going on the year. And as always, like, subscribe, share any videos. Make sure you got that bell rung as well, and follow us on socials. We're always looking for insight or just overall discussion you guys are willing to put out as well. So hit all those channels up and be ready for getting ready for NASCAR season. So we'll see y'all next week with our getting up to speed for the 2024 NASCAR season.